Good afternoon, friends. Today we continue learning Robert Burns' poem, My Love is Like a Red Rose. So let's focus on the interpretation of lines, stanza by stanza. Lines first to two. Let's see how it is being interpreted. This, these lines are quite well familiar, well acquainted with the readers. Its appeal over time stems from the boldness of its assertion. In this poem, we can simply find out the fact that the speaker's love is being conveyed through the conventional image of the rose, as the poet says, my love is like a red rose. So there are four strong beats in these lines. The poet's choice of a rose is important in this context. The color red symbolizes love and passion. The color red, my love is like a red rose, symbolizes the eternal love and passion. There is the comparison between the beloved and the rose. Once we go through this poem closely, carefully, which reveals the subtle way in which the poet, the speaker, expresses his conviction. The word red is repeated. My love is like a red rose. The poet does not say, my love is like a red rose. In fact, he repeats the word twice. My love is like a red rose. In the first line, the figure of speech used by the poet is simile. There is the use of like as in the line and the repetition of red. And it's interesting to know the repetition of the word red that enhances the quality and brings the attention of readers to this poem. And the answer is found in the second line. What exactly the red color symbolizes? Red is the expected hue of the flower. The repetition of the adjective manifests the fullest and the most lovely manifestation of the rose, its ideal state. The poet repeats the word red. My love is like a red rose. So the repetition of the red manifests or demonstrates conspicuously about the ideal state. This also brings out the nature, the temperament of the speaker's love. There is one more phrase which is very brilliantly used by the poet, that is newly sprung. What does it symbolize? Newly sprung refers to the pure state of the things. It exists in its purest and most perfect state, and nothing fades it away. No time can deface it. None of its vitality has faded. In my first lecture, we focused mostly on the theme of time, how the time plays a crucial role in this point. It's a time that destroys everything. The time is considered to be the cruelest one. The time decays beauty. Time rusts beauty. Time makes mankind to believe in the fact that life is dust. Time has not scarred it with age or decay in this point. At this embodiment of love is a temporary one. In this context, like the rose, which can exist in this lush form only, that's why the poet says, in June, which means the speaker's feelings. It talks about the season June. It talks about his beloved's beauty. He is of the opinion that the beauty is not being destroyed by time. Time is not able to diminish beauty, destroy beauty, finish duty. His beloved's beauty cannot remain frozen in time. Beauty surpasses time in this context. They, like all other forms of beauty, are passing. But here, Robert Burns is of the opinion that time, although it's powerful, but fails to destroy beauty. The beloved's beauty is much more valuable to him, which cannot be frozen in time. This is a great thought by the poet Robert Burns in the poem, My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. Let's focus our attention on the line number third and fourth. What exactly the poet says in these two lines. The poet talks about the rose. So in this context, the speaker's recognition of the rose is important. The rose may have its brief beauty, which compels him to pursue another metaphor for his love. In reality, time is more powerful than beauty. Time destroys beauty. Time spoils beauty. Beauty cannot stand in front of time. Maybe the poet knows about the transitoriness of beauty. That's the reason he may turn up to another metaphor for his love. What exactly he does is that this time he chooses to compare her to a lovely melody from a song. The comparison of the beloved is with a lovely melody from a song. He compares the beloved with a lovely melody. But the melody is not perpetual. The beauty is not perpetual. It is time bound. It has its own demarcations which can end up in time. So maybe the poet realizes the fact that a lovely melody from a song might have a temporary form of beauty. He goes on to say that a song may be sweetly played in tune. It is a product of time. It's a product of beats and measures. Time has almost encompassed a very vast spectrum of the time. We sometimes talk about the timeless time has the tremendous power to diminish everything, to perish everything. So here, the metaphors, the similes, the poet uses in this poem fetches the notion of transitoriness and permanence. When the song has ended, its beauty lives on only in abstraction. The idea of the beautiful song we can think of. So again, the poet, what exactly he does is that he compares his love to a lovely melody from a song. So let's interpret the lines from 5th to 8th. In the second stanza, the poet plays on the word love. The spelling is Luve by the poet, which reveals the elusive nature of the concept. The speaker says, I will love thee still. Luve, he uses this spelling. I will love thee still. In this fashion, the poet plays on the notion of time. The line in this context indicates that the speaker will love continuously or forever. The love in this poem has its permanence rather than temporary being. The love lasts forever. The love is unconditional. But the poet does not want to limit his love. So, the following line does put a limit on the amount of time he will love. But love has its own barriers and demarcations, limitations, horizons. That's why the poet's passion is revealed by the use of the word till a certain time when the seas gang dry, which refers to when the seas go dry. The poet talks about the permanence of love, the everlasting love, the eternal love that he cherishes forever in his heart, which will not be finished till the sea goes dry. Here, who will wait for the drying up of the seas, which is absolutely removed, far away? In the same fashion, love lasts forever. So here, though the prospect of the seas drying up seems removed, it exists nonetheless. The poet expresses his feelings, emotions, sentiments about love for his beloved. The poet is absolutely romantic in tone. But still, the poet, most of the times, puts forth a hint of melancholy in this poem. He is of the opinion that his love will last a long time. It is not eternal in the purest sense. The eternity of love is denied by the poet, but its perpetuality has been accepted, not in its sense of eternity, absolutism. Love will last forever, but that is not eternal in the purest sense. This is what exactly the poet Robert Burns puts forth. Let's see the line number 9 to 11. Here is the repetition of the words till the seas gang dry is in keeping with the song's musicality. There is also a hint of reconsideration that the poet gives in this poem. It's important to understand the implied sense in this poem, the implications that the poet has said in this poem. The poet sincerely attempts to talk about eternity. The poem is simply an exposition, an expression of eternity, the timeless time. He wants to interpret them through his verse, but he uses the word till. Till may be a manifestation of the barrier, hindrance, horizon, limitation, demarcation, transitoriness. So the word is quite meaningful in this poem. Till, Till. His ideas rely on the word till. That's why the poet says, he will love his beloved until the rocks melt with the sun. See one thing, that how the poet retains love in his poem by the comparison. Love lasts forever till the seas go dry. Love lasts forever until the rocks melt with the sun. Melting of the rocks with the sun seems to be impossible for the poet. And the drying up of the ocean also seems to be absolutely a Herculean task as per the deeper thinking of the poet. But he keeps the eternity apart from what exactly he thinks about the lasting love. The rocks may indeed melt one day or erode, in any case, under the effects of the sun, wind, weather. Again, here we come across the theme of transitoriness. The rocks may melt one day. The rocks may erode one day due to the power of the sun, the wind, weather, climate, atmosphere, or the natural disasters. But the poet is of the opinion that although the things to which he compares his beloved goes diminishing, but his love will retain its purity, its eternity, as per the perception of the poet is concerned, the everlasting presence and its ceaselessness in retaining its purity into the heart. His love will cease. So again, his sentiments are not wholly timeless. One thing is quite clear, that the poet is not talking about eternity, timelessness in its fullest sense. But still, he talks about the permanence of love. He adores the beauty, the dazzling beauty of his beloved. And he retains the beauty by using the figures of speech like simile, metaphor, which keeps its presence forever. Let's see what happens exactly in line number 12. The line number 12 in in Robert Burns' poem, "My love is like a red, red rose," casts some suspicion on the motif of the speaker. Here we have a few glimpses of doubts about the intention of the speaker because it is interpreted in two ways. Let's understand the essence of the poem. The poet is of the opinion that their love is separate, above or beyond the science of time. It's above the science of time. Their love is separate in one sense. This shows that love will last forever and won't change or end because of time. Because he talks about the science of time and the continuity, the ceaselessness, incessant, continual flow of time, up to which love can retain its presence. This simply means that the poet is talking about the everlasting love, the continuity of love, and he comes to the conclusion that time is not going to affect his love, affect his beloved's love. There is one more thing that the poet is talking about so deeply, profoundly about love, that he seems to focus on the fact that the sands are running, which is to say that time is fleeting, time is running out, time is moving fast, time is fleeting, time is not transitory, time is not stationary, time is mobile. The sand runs out of the hourglass. There is the hourglass, and in the hourglass, the sand is placed, and the sand is not stationary, it is coming down, it is moving, it's fleeting, it's running out of the time. So this shows the flow of time along with the flow of love. In this fashion, the poet delicately balances time and beauty, the notion of time and beauty. Superficially thinking, one can come to the conclusion that time destroys beauty, spoils beauty, but here beauty is not affected by any time. The poet reiterates this fact. That's why he gives many references to time. And we come to realize the first two lines in this poem, which arrests our attention. That is a red, red rose. The poet says, my love is like a red, red rose. In this context, the poet talks about his love, which is absolutely momentary and time bound in its nature. And he says that my love is like a red, red rose that has newly sprung in June. The poem becomes much more important than the simple love ballad that it seemed initially. Basically, the poem appears to be a love ballad, a simple love ballad. But once we go deeper and deeper in the interpretation of the poem, we can come to the conclusion that this is a spiritual meditation by the poet, by the speaker. And this spiritual meditation is on the speaker's consciousness of time. This is nothing but the expression of the subconscious nature of the poet while talking about the consciousness of time. The poem is nothing but a meditation, a spiritual meditation on time, eternity, the consciousness of time, and the limitations in life. And it's time that has really created hindrance to human emotions and feelings and sentiments as well. Time limits, moderates, monitors, and controls the emotions and feelings of the lovers. This is what exactly the poet says in this poem. Let's see the line number 13 and 16. Especially there is the last stanza, which seems to shift away from the predominant concerns of the first three lines. The speaker seems to turn from the concept of time to that of parting. Initially, he talks about the notion of time and his own consciousness of time. But gradually, in the course of time, the poet talks about parting. He bids farewell to his beloved. This is generally said in life that we come alone, we go alone. We are all alone on the wide sea. The concept of time enters here as well. The speaker transcends vast distance. Here he talks about he can cover the distance about 10,000 miles to be with his love, to return to love. Distance never matters in love. Love surpasses distance. This is the theme. This is an innovative theme, the notion of time, the new idea which has sprung from the poet's mind. So he is of the opinion that he can meet his beloved at any cost. He is ready to cover the distance about 10,000 miles, which is nothing to him, to meet his beloved, to meet her again, because he is departing. So here he uses the time related words again, that is a while and again. Again, it draws the attention of the readers. And it also takes us back to the main concern of the first three stanzas. And in this fashion, we understand the perpetuality of love, the domination of love over time. So this is a beautiful poem composed by Robert Burns. entitled My Love is Like a Red, Red Rose. So let's have a few quotations and then we sum up this lesson. So there is one more quotation that is by Charles Dickens, who says, "A loving heart is the truest wisdom. A loving heart is a truest wisdom." There is George Eliot, who opines that I like not only to be loved, but also to be told I am loved. I repeat what George Eliot says: I like not only to be loved, but also to be told I am loved. Let's see what Lawrence Durrell says about love. To love another person is to see the face of God. See, a very sublime idea that Lawrence Durrell has stated. He says that to love another person is to see the face of God. So there is Orson Welles, who is of the opinion and talking about love. We are born alone, we live alone. We are born alone, we live alone, we die alone. Only through our love and friendship can we create the illusion for the moment that we are not alone. It's a beautiful quotation by Orson Welles. I repeat, I reread it. We are born alone, we live alone, we die alone. Only through our love and friendship can we create the illusion for the moment that we are not alone. There is one more quotation by Edgar Allan Poe from his poem, that is Annabel Lee. We loved with love that was more than love. We loved with love that was more than love. And let's have the last quotation by William Shakespeare from his drama tragedy, that is Hamlet. What the poet, what the dramatist William Shakespeare says. Let's see. Doubt thou the stars are not, the stars are fire. Doubt that the stars are fire. Doubt that the sun doth move. Doubt truth to be a liar. But never doubt I love. Here, William Shakespeare says that I can doubt anything. You can doubt anything. You can doubt that the stars are not fire. You can doubt that the sun is not moving. You can doubt that the truth is a liar. There is no truth. The stars are not fire. The sun is not moving. You can doubt or have the suspicion about all these things, but you cannot make any suspicion, any doubt about I love. This is what exactly he says about the notion of love. So in this way, this poem is over, and the all the poems have been finished. So thank you very much for your cooperation and listening to me patiently. And share this video to BSc first year and BA first year compulsory English students. And this video is also helpful for the researchers, the interested people who wants to interpret the poem. My love is like a red, red rose by Robert Burns. Thank you very much.